Thanks for joining us. If you've been looking into cybersecurity, maybe government tech,
Yeah.
you've probably seen the name MITRE pop up.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Maybe the ATT&CK framework.
Yep.
Or CVE for vulnerabilities.
Exactly. CVE comes up all the time. But, have you ever really stopped and thought about who MITRE is? What they actually do?
It's a great question because there's sort of this quiet but honestly really influential force. They're shaping tech, security, defense, not just in the US, but kind of globally.
Right. So that's our mission today. We're going to, unpack MITRE, get to the heart of it.
Figure out why this nonprofit is so important.
Yeah. We'll look at where they came from, how they work, the surprisingly wide range of things they're involved in.
And we've got some good sources articles covering their history, their different roles, so a solid base.
Okay, let's dive right in then. Fundamentally, what is MITRE?
Okay, so at its core, MITRE is a private, not-for-profit corporation. Headquarters in Bedford, Massachusetts and McLean, Virginia. Been around a while since 1958.
1958, okay.
But the real key, the thing that makes them different, is that they operate federally funded research and development centers, FFRDCs.
FFRDCs.
Right.
Heard that term. So that means they're not actually part of the government.
Nope, not a government agency.
And they're not like a regular company focused on profits.
Exactly. That's the unique spot they're in. They work super closely with U.S. government agencies, but they're independent.
Uh-huh.
And because they're nonprofit, their main goal is serving the public interest, offering objective advice, no profit motive driving things.
Okay, so think of them like a strategic partner, but impartial.
That's a good way to put it. A strategic, impartial partner for a whole bunch of government organizations.
Interesting. So how did that whole setup even begin? What's the origin story?
Well, you got to go back to the 1950s, MIT, Lincoln Laboratory.
Okay.
The U.S. Air Force back then had this massive project, the SAGE air defense system. Hugely complex.
SAGE, right? Early computer network stuff.
Yeah, cutting edge for the time. And the Air Force realized, hey, we need an organization just focused on the systems engineering, the big picture.
Someone who wasn't building the hardware.
Precisely. They needed someone totally objective, separate from the companies that would actually build the components, to avoid any conflicts of interest,
Ah, makes sense. You don't want the architect pushing their own brand of bricks, basically.
Exactly. So to guarantee that objectivity, MITRE was spun off from Lincoln Lab in '58, created as this independent nonprofit.
And that kind of set the template for managing these FFRDCs.
It really did. That whole idea of unbiased expert advice became the model.
Okay, so MITRE manages these FFRDCs. Let's dig into that a bit more. What is an FFRDC, really? Why is that structure so important?
Right. FFRDCs, they're pretty unique institutions. Basically, the government sponsors them to tackle long-term technical problems.
Problems that maybe industry wouldn't take on, or government can't handle alone.
Exactly. They bridge that gap. Think of them maybe like dedicated research centers focused on specific national needs with stable government funding.
Okay, and MITRE runs several of these. What are the main ones?
They do, quite a few. First, there's the National Security Engineering Center, NSCC.
Okay, NSCC. Sponsored by?
Department of Defense, DOD. So their focus is, national security, defense and intelligence challenges.
Like what kind of challenges?
Secure military communications, analyzing threats to critical infrastructure, that sort of thing. Really complex defense systems work.
Gotcha. Okay, who else?
Then there's the Center for Advanced Aviation System Development, CAASD.
Aviation, so FAA.
Yep, they partner with the FAA. Big focus on modernizing air traffic control, like the whole next-gen initiative you hear about.
Making flying more efficient and safe.
Exactly. And improving aviation safety worldwide. It's huge. They're kind of the unseen hands making sure our flights are safe, on time. Well, mostly on time.
The brains behind making sure the planes don't bump into each other.
Pretty much. Okay, next is the Center for Enterprise Modernization, CEM.
Enterprise modernization. Sounds big.
It is. This one's interesting, sponsored by Treasury, so the IRS, and also the Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA.
IRS and VA, what's the link?
It's about large-scale modernization for big civilian agencies, helping them update massive, often ancient IT systems.
Oh, wow. Like helping the IRS process taxes digitally, securely.
That's exactly the kind of massive, critical job they handle, helping these huge agencies serve the public better through technology.
That sounds like a nightmare job, frankly. But essential.
Definitely essential. Okay, then there's the Homeland Security Systems Engineering and Development Institute, HSSE, Bit of a mouthful.
HSED, so Department of Homeland Security, DHS.
Right. They work with DHS, covers a lot, border security tech, cybersecurity for the nation, protecting critical infrastructure.
Big, important stuff.
Very. And speaking of cybersecurity, there's actually a dedicated one, the National Cybersecurity FFRDC.
Ah, okay. Sponsored by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology.
You got it. Their whole job is pushing forward national cybersecurity solutions and research, really focused on that cyber aspect.
Man, that's quite a list already. Is that it?
Almost. Two more key ones. There's the Center for Government Effectiveness and Modernization, CGEM,
CG?
which includes the Judiciary Engineering and Modernization Center, JEMC. They work with the courts.
The U.S. courts.
Yeah.
Modernizing their systems.
Exactly, helping the federal judiciary update their technology. And finally, there's the CMS Alliance to Modernize Healthcare. People usually call it the Health FFRDC.
Healthcare, so HHS, Health and Human Services.
Right. Sponsored by HHS. This one's actually operated by MITRE Ingenuity, which is like a tech foundation arm of MITRE.
And their focus?
Transforming healthcare, using tech and data better, improving health IT.
Okay, wow. That's a huge range.
Sure.
Defense, aviation, IRS, VA, DHS, cyber, courts, healthcare.
It really covers a lot of ground.
So what are the big advantages then of using this FFRDC structure? Why does it work so well for all these different critical areas?
Well, there are some major benefits. First, it lets them build up really deep, specialized technical expertise. Like really deep.
Because they focus long-term on these complex problems.
Exactly. They can attract and keep people with very specific skills. Second, they often get access to sensitive government information. Stuff you need to really understand the problem.
Which a regular company might not get.
Right. And third, like we said, that built-in objectivity. They're not trying to sell a product. They're giving unbiased advice.
Makes sense.
And finally, it encourages a long-term view. They can look beyond the next quarter's results or the next election cycle, you know? Focus on solutions that take time to develop.
Okay. That framework makes a lot of sense now. Let's talk impact. We mentioned cybersecurity at the start. That seems like a place where people might actually see MITRE's name.
It's definitely one of the most visible areas. And yeah, their impact there is huge. You mentioned CVE earlier.
Yeah, common vulnerabilities and exposures, the list of known security flaws.
Right. That's managed by ISPERID, sponsored by CISA, actually. It's the international standard. Everyone uses it to track vulnerabilities.
It's foundational.
Absolutely. And there was some buzz recently about its funding, which just shows how critical it is. Imagine not having a standard way to name these flaws. Chaos.
Total chaos. Okay, what else in cyber? There's CWE?
Yep, common weakness enumeration. If CVE is the specific flaw, CWE is like the type of underlying weakness.
Like buffer overflows or SQL injection, those kinds of categories.
Exactly. It gives developers and security folks a common language to talk about the root causes of vulnerabilities. Helps prevent them in the first place.
Proactive, not just reactive.
Right. And then, of course, the big one everyone talks about, ATT&CK.
ATT&CK. Adversarial tactics, techniques, and common knowledge. Definitely seen that one around. What's the core idea there?
Okay, think of ATT&CK as a giant encyclopedia of how cyber attackers actually operate, based on real-world attacks.
So, step by step, how they get in, move around, steal data.
Precisely. All the tactics, techniques, procedures they use. It's incredibly valuable for security teams. They use it for threat modeling, testing defenses, understanding where their gaps are.
Like a playbook for the defenders, based on the attacker's plays.
That's a great analogy. And related is CAPEC, Common Attack Pattern Enumeration and Classification. That catalogs the specific ways attackers exploit those weaknesses we talked about with CWE.
So MITRE isn't just finding problems in cyber. They're building the whole vocabulary, the frameworks, the knowledge base the entire industry uses to fight back.
That's a really good summary, yeah. But it's not just cyber, right? We mentioned aviation.
Right, the FAA partnership. Modernizing air traffic control.
Decades of work there, improving safety, efficiency, and now figuring out how to safely integrate things like drones into the airspace. Super complex.
Yeah, you want drones buzzing around passenger jets unsafely.
Definitely not. OMDIRI helps figure out how to manage all that. Then there's defense and intelligence.
More traditional areas for them.
Yeah, core stuff, providing that deep systems engineering expertise, blueprinting complex military and intelligence systems, researching new tech, giving objective advice to make sure things work securely, effectively.
Okay. And healthcare. You mentioned the Health FFRDC.
Right. Focus there is on improving health IT. Making electronic health records work better together, setting data standards so systems can actually talk to each other.
Interoperability.
Yeah.
Huge issue in healthcare.
Huge. And using data analysis for public health. Think about tracking disease outbreaks, making healthcare delivery smarter.
And Homeland Security. We touched on HSSED. Border security, infrastructure.
Yeah, applying that systems thinking to really tough problems.
Right.
Protecting critical infrastructure, power grids, water systems, helping with emergency response planning, it's broad.
And that enterprise modernization piece, helping the IRS, the VA.
Yeah, helping these huge, vital agencies drag their technology into the 21st century, making them more efficient, more secure, better able to serve citizens. It's unglamorous, maybe, but incredibly important work.
It really sounds like it. It's fascinating how this one organization touches so many fundamental parts of how the country runs. What about AI? That's everywhere now.
Absolutely. They're deep into AI and data science, too, researching it, applying it to national problems, but importantly, also focusing on the ethics of AI, how to use these powerful tools responsibly for the public good.
That ethical angle is crucial. So if we try to wrap this all up, why is MITRE so important? What's the big takeaway?
I think it boils down to their unique position and what comes out of it. They provide unbiased, evidence-based technical advice on really hard, really critical problems.
If they're nonprofit running these FFRDCs.
Right. That allows them to tackle huge, complex, long-term challenges that others just can't or won't. Their focus is the public good, not profit.
And they act as a bridge between government and industry.
Yeah, a trusted intermediary. They help different groups collaborate, and they develop and promote standards like CVE and ATT&CK that benefit everyone.
So they're tackling big problems, offering objective advice, fostering collaboration, and setting standards.
That's pretty much it. They bring that deep technical expertise and systems thinking to bear on challenges that really matter for national security, public safety, and just, making government work better.
It really is amazing how much impact they have while staying largely behind the curtain for most people.
Exactly. They're not usually in the headlines, but their work, that dedication to objective expertise for these long-term complex problems, it really does contribute to, their tagline is solving problems for a safer world. And there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, it seems like it. So thinking about MITRE, this quiet, essential organization, it kind of makes you wonder, right? What other invisible frameworks or maybe organizations are out there? Things that are crucial to our daily lives, our security, but that we just don't see.
That's a great question, like the bodies setting internet standards or the logistics networks.
Exactly. The unseen stuff that just makes things work. Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining us.
And be sure to check out the show notes for links.
Until next time.
See ya then.